Check 1 2, check 1 2. That's exactly what we're going to speak about today, about this microphone here, the Fifine K688. I'm Peter and welcome back to my channel. This microphone has been labeled as being the affordable alternative for podcasters, streamers and content creators. And I want to find out if indeed this could be the perfect and the best podcast microphone below $100 or 100 euros, depending on where you're living. Let's dive into that. Let's go for it. Great having you today here. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, then now it's the right moment to do so before we dive into the topic. I can tell you already about this microphone, the Fifine K688, that there are quite some things that I find very interesting and very cleverly solved. While there are a couple of other things also where I say like, oh, there is room for improvement. And I'm going to go really down the rabbit hole to see which ones are these. Full disclosure, Fifine has been sending over this microphone to me, but no money has changed hands and they are not going to view the microphone before this video is published, so all the opinions and views are mine. The first thing is that this microphone is not expensive, but when you unpack it and when you have it in your hands, you don't have the feeling that it's a cheap microphone. Well, actually, it's not really cheap, but it doesn't feel cheap as well. It's partly made of metal, it's good build quality, it's heavy enough so that you have a good feeling, and it looks like a real podcast microphone, and therefore you can also perfectly put it in front of the camera, and you should not be ashamed having this beautiful microphone in front of you. So that's the first thing. But the real magic actually comes at the bottom of the microphone, because this microphone is USB-C and XLR microphone. And that's already one of the things that I started liking, because you can both connect it either over the USB connector or you can use the XLR connector. The USB connector is very handy if you want to record something in your studio, connecting it directly without any audio interface to your computer, to your laptop, to your tablet, or even also to your smartphone. And then on the other hand, the XLR connector is very useful if you want to connect it directly to your camera, or in my case, if you're recording podcast shows where you have two people sitting there and you don't want to rely on a wireless connection from the microphone. You have as well, and that's another thing that I like, you have a gain control on the bottom of the microphone, which works, by the way, even also in USB-C mode. That means you can adjust the gain directly on the microphone. This is not always the case for other microphones. It's an excellent choice because sometimes you want to push down the gain a little bit or up, and you don't need to do it always over the software here. Then we have at the bottom, we have as well a headphone connector. And a headphone connector is something which is extremely useful because on one hand, you can hear your own voice. You can also adjust the volume of your voice. But if it's connected over USB, you can as well use the Fifine K688 as an audio interface and, for example, listen to what the people that you have in a podcast are saying. So that's something which is convenient. But there is a little caveat here, because there is no possibility to adjust the volume of the sound of your voice independently from the computer signal. That means you're boosting everything or you're lowering everything. If you want to have the computer signal, your podcast guest, for example, if you want to have them less loud than your voice, you need to do this on a computer. A great feature that I really like is actually that it has on the top, it has a button with a microphone signal. As long as this button is green, the microphone is recording. As soon as you tap the button and it changes to red, then the microphone is muted. You tap again on it, becomes green again, and obviously the microphone is unmuted again. This is really a great feature that I personally like a lot and that I use also a lot because it simply makes sense. Of course, the microphone is defined by the sound of the microphone, and you should absolutely judge the microphone by the sound. So that's why I didn't add any music to this video, so that you can judge by yourself. There's also no real treatment that I have made on the microphone signal, except for normalizing the audio signal, which you should anyway do, and adding a little bit of compression, which makes the sound a little bit more balanced. But that's the only thing. There is no EQing or no pop removal or whatever. Everything is straight out of the microphone, connected, by the way, in this case over USB-C to my laptop. My personal appreciation about this microphone, about the sound, is that actually it sounds pretty good, I must say. Out of the box, it gives me a warm and round sound. It resonates quite well with my voice. It might be different with other voices, but at least for me, it works quite well. There are a couple of downsides. There's a little bit of pop noise when you're speaking in a very pronounced way. There, I would love to have maybe a better filter here, but it's not something that you couldn't filter out. So from this perspective, this is pretty great. There is one thing that you need to keep in mind. This is a podcast microphone, it's a dynamic microphone, and it's a very directional microphone. That means you need to be close to the microphone. As soon as you move away from the microphone, the volume of your voice will right away diminish. The same is true as well if you speak from the side. Be it on the left or the right side, the volume right away reduces. This microphone you can perfectly also use in environments which are maybe not 100% soundproof. If you have a little bit of background noise from the streets or even working colleagues who are speaking somewhere in the background, because of this directional character of the microphone, this will quite efficiently filter it out as well. So what is now the conclusion? The first pro is clearly the build quality and the look of the microphone. It definitely is not a cheap microphone. It's a high quality microphone. It looks great, so you can perfectly put it in front of the camera. The next pro is the two connections that we have, XLR and USB. That's something that I absolutely love, and I can connect it to no matter what devices I have. The third one is a mute button, which is on the top. That's a very clever solution for just quickly muting and unmuting the microphone if you need it. And last but not least, of course, the sound quality. I like the sound quality. It does exactly what I would want this microphone to do. And that's the best what you can say basically over a microphone. Considering the price, I can absolutely say the sound quality is really good. Where there is a lot of light, there's a little bit of shadow. Not so much shadow, but still. The biggest con that I see here is for me that I cannot independently level the volume of my voice and the computer signal. If that would be possible, then I would say like, wow, that's really cool that you can do it. It's not the case yet, maybe in a future version. So Fifine, if you listen to that, it's my recommendation. The second con is not necessarily directly related to the microphone, but rather to the boom stand, which came with the package that I received. It's a boom stand that works, but if you have seen other boom stands, honestly, this is a little bit flimsy and I would replace it rather quickly with a much better one, which is more flexible and works much better. It's great to have it, and especially if you're a starter, you might be very happy with it. But if you're used to a little bit more pro material, then definitely I would replace it. As a final conclusion, I can definitely say for this price, the microphone is a recommendation. The Fifine K688 is a great sounding microphone. Out of the box, you will have great results, even if you're sitting in a not optimized environment. And that's something which is counting really for many of us. So in this case, I would say, have a closer look at the microphone, try it out, test it, and eventually, if you like it, buy it. That's so far from my side. Thank you very much for watching, and you know what you have to do. You have to subscribe, you have to like, you have to share, and you have to come back for my next videos as well. Till then, I say take care and happy to see you again.